What is going on, guys? Belair here. We are back with another video today. We are rocking with Two Piece. Gonna consume some games from the Open Qualifier 6 run that ultimately ended with them not being able to make Major 2 in London, although they were incredibly close. And the Man of the Hour Two Piece is gonna open up our scoring here. This is the quarterfinals. This is game 5 against Luminosity, and we're going to watch one game from each of the matches. So the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and then the final to try and tease out what Two Piece was able to do so well as the frontman of this roster in order to have them make a grand finals and ultimately put themselves in the driver's seat in that tiebreaker against OG Esports that they ultimately lost. I want to start out with a little bit of a trivia game for you guys. Who do you think the top 6 rated players between North America and Europe were from this season? Let's go in reverse order. Number 6 is Drolly. New player, BDS. Love to see it. The start of a pretty impressive career. Number 5, Exotic. We all know him. We know what he's been able to do for top teams, especially in LAN environments. Number 4, Alpha 54. Nothing needs to be said there about one of the GOATs of our esport. Number 3 is Vatira. No shocker. Number 2 is Zen. That makes sense. And number 1, the only player with a 1.2 rating or higher this season is Two Piece. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I know Two Piece is good and rating isn't everything. It's an imperfect stat. But that's pretty crazy that it's all these top European players and then it's Two Piece. A player who I assume would be top 15, top 20, but number 1, oh my goodness. Number 11 this season between those two top regions for goals per game. Number 7 in assists per game, and number 7 in saves per game as well. So Two Piece does it all for this roster. Number 1 in scoring, although, you know, scoring is essentially a reflection. There's a big correlation between that and our rating. I bring all this up to say Two Piece is someone who has been considered as an up-and-coming talent in North America for a couple of seasons. I had a video, what a save by Two Piece there to get the reverse read. I put out a video last season about Two Piece and how during one of the trade deadlines, or I guess the trade deadline, every team was supposedly rumored to be trying to get Two Piece, but he said, no, I'm happy. I'm going to stay here alongside Paarth. And another one there for Two Piece as a, you know, we just did a video on Luminosity, or at least I was watching some gameplay on Luminosity, I can't remember, and they really like to open things up wide and make it chaotic, and Two Piece is just thriving in that. But Two Piece had another great statistical season this time around. The thing I like most about him is his passing. Gets the hockey assist there, tosses one into Justin, who almost puts it away, and then Paarth is going to slot. We're up 1-4 as this game just really starts to run away, become a track meet on the scoring end. And can he get up to save yet another one? Yes, he can. Two Pieces reading Luminosity like a book here. No boost, tries to cycle up to get that mid boost, can't get it. Cycling out wide here. And can he make the save? No. That's okay. Still 2-goal advantage. But with all these stats, what was it that made Two Piece and by extension Shopify unable to make a LAN? I think it was a couple poor performances when they mattered most that ended up being the proverbial straws that broke the camel's back. In the first major, they were unable to qualify for Open Qualifier 2 in the same sense of what we just saw from Carmine Core over the course of this most recent split. Missing out on one of those just makes it nearly impossible for a team to end up qualifying for a major, so that really sunk their ship there. And then over the course of the second split, they ended up making it all the way to that tiebreaker with OG, and they really fell apart late in that series. Just not a lot of connective tissue between the players. The thing that you like to see most from them, you know, the passing and the connectivity really fell apart. A couple critical mistakes down the stretch, especially as I recall it, a couple key misses by Justin, but it really was a team effort as to why they couldn't get over the hump something that really stood out when doing some research on this team was the season scores against some of the top rosters. So we're not going to hit everybody and make this super long, but as this game is just exploding offensively, I'll let this be a nice little background for you guys to watch. Let's talk about some of the team results from Shopify over the course of this season. Dignitas only played them once, beat them once. NRG 1-1. They really got a lot of their wins off of teams that they should be beating. You know, they beat Moist Esports 3-0 in that season series, that is 3-1, excuse me, against Snowmen. So there's 6 wins right there between Moist and Snowmen, teams that they should certainly be beating. And they really did pretty well against the other teams that you would assume as well. You know, 1-0 against M80 and Cloud9, 1-0 against Luminosity Gaming. We're seeing that series here. And really where we get to see why Shopify did not attend any majors is talking about some of these top major contending teams from the region. 2-0 against G2 Esports. And I think both of those might have been sweeps. No, that's incorrect. The grand finals, I think, was a 4-2. But, you know, not being able to overcome G2 is something that the entire region has run into. And that's going to wrap up this first game here, as we saw 2Piece put up a hat trick with almost a double savior and 2 assists on 4 shots. Very impressive first game. Before we hop over to watch them take down Moist Esports, let me just finish up that point. Where we really saw things stand out was their season series against OG, Space Station Gaming, and Gen.G. 0-2 against OG, including that tiebreaker. 0-3 against Space Station Gaming, and 1-3 against Gen.G. So even though they had a great season series and 2Piece put up excellent stats throughout, they made a lot of playoffs. They were unable to overcome those top teams and get those those big point results that you get from those later semifinal and grand finals. So that is really what hindered them. But with that being said, let's hop over to see how they were able to take apart Moist Esports, and we'll really focus in on the gameplay from our main man 2Piece here. All right, we're back on Aquadome for Game 5 against Moist Esports. To get us up to speed on where we are right now in Game 5, Moist go up 0-2 to take an early advantage in this series, and 2Piece is just going to read, who was that, Andy? Like a book there. This is off kickoff. Great way to start off Game 5. This is 5 up who gets stuck on that back wall, and then just 2Piece is able to put one away. So 0-2 deficit. Shopify call a timeout. They respond with 2 game wins, and this is that critical Game 5 to kind of determine who was going to end up making the major. I think at this point in time, Moist were still technically in the running, although I could be incorrect, but they're playing for pride here. They were able to take down Gen.G in a pretty dominant fashion in the quarterfinal before this, as Justin is going to get stuck on the sidewall there and unable to get back to that one. And Eris had a huge series. So now that I recall it, I think Moist is already eliminated, but they're playing for pride here. And let's see how 2Piece is able to put things together. Out of boost, that's okay with him. Gonna stay in this play and at least try and make things difficult. I'm surprised to see how far upfield 2Piece is with no boost. Finally finds a corner there. Gonna rotate in and play first man here, try and bump one in. And it looks like Shopify are just trying to see what they can set up. 2Piece jumping for this, kind of, you know, letting the defense know that they're gonna need to get up pretty quickly. It seems like a lot of these plays, Shopify have been keeping this in Moist half for quite a while. Goes for the ceiling challenge, doesn't need to. Ends up getting beat. This one's going to float on over. Deft little play there to get a touch around, and no teammates to follow up. And this one, it seems like the two teams are kind of just feeling each other out, right? What's 2Piece going to do with this? Just going to clear that to the other end. Sensible play. He's going to try. It seems like 2Piece likes to at least try for a lot of stuff that gets set up by his teammates. Whether he's going to get beat or not, he's just there to make his presence known. And this one, the two teams are still really feeling each other out, although that was a close chance by Paarth that almost got put in. 5-up is going to whiff there on something that could have been tough in transition to stop. Eris gets the reset, denied easily by 2Piece, who's going to follow this up. Let's see if he dives. It looks like he was trying to get the read on a bump if the player was going to get, you know, kind of try and get an aerial play set up there. He was going to try and go for the kill. Tough spot there. Lucky that he didn't get dunked into his own net. Let's see here. 2Piece hasn't really... It seems like Paarth is taking a lot of stuff solo. 2Piece is kind of creating off of it. Likes to get those second and third touches, keep the ball in his hood. Similar to what we saw from LJ, where he's not really a ball-dominant first man. Very aware, something that we saw LJ struggle with quite a bit, where there have been some demo attempts against 2Piece, and he has denied all of them. And definitely seems okay to stay in the play on low boost, just kind of get a touch around one, keep something going for his teammate. I guess they're not super concerned about Moist in transition. Knew he didn't have the sidewall double. Conserve some boost. And is that going to be a transition right there? No, it is not. 2Piece still staying in with low boost, tries to get the slot top left. Denied by the triple commit defensively by Moist. Pretty high line. Wow, he was up so early for this. Is that a connection with Paarth? I mean, this is why they've been a duo for so many seasons, right? This is where you start to get the... You reap the rewards of playing with somebody for so long here. No, this is off Justin. Look how early 2Piece is up. So much power on that. There's no way Moist is able to respond. A big goal in this critical game where we have a 2-2 series score. 2Piece puts him in the lead. Tries to get the kill there. Not going to worry about it too much. Getting back here. Still low boost. Okay to just hang out. Keeps the touch. Pretty lucky demo there. I like that 2Piece tried to keep as opposed to just, you know, selling out. And that's the equalizer there. Kind of just a tough defensive set. 2Piece wasn't really a part of it. Although he ended up getting demoed out, which set something up and then bumped on the respawn. Nothing much you can do about it. He is going to cycle out here with low boost. I was curious to see if he was going to stay. Let's see how he plays this one. Knows he has a little bit of space. Nice little beat past Eris. No boost. Looks like he tried to get to 50 there. And just outside of the lines there for Justin. 2Piece with full boost. Look how early he's getting up to these. It's so surprising because it seems like he's beat on a lot of them, but he's just like, hey, I'm going to go. Like, whatever. Maybe they'll miss or something. Great stop there by Justin. 2Piece full boost here. Tries to get the play around. Going to cycle up. I guess they're really comfortable against Moist despite getting beat a couple of times. They're just, you know, staying in with low boost. 2Piece especially. Man, what a read there. 5-up had nowhere to go. But they're staying in. 2Piece is staying in with low boost. He's cycling up field when it looks like they might be in a semi-treacherous position defensively. Is just not worried. It probably means that there's pretty good comms. And very calm and collected by 2Piece. Stuck with no momentum. One coming at him. And wow, by the way, look at this. This is only... Look how much time is on the clock here. Super calm and collected by 2Piece, just totally casual, knows the bump is coming, gets up early. Justin was there, but looks like Justin's just going to go for the kill here, and he can't keep it up. This is it, right? This is game 5, overtime, to go to match point. Let's see what we end up getting here out of 2Piece. Fakes out who is that, 5-up? He's really had 5-up's number over the course of this game. Has to be aware that Eris is over there. 5-up just totally biffs it on what could have been a one-on-one setup there in overtime. 2Piece cycles out with no boost. Justin gets on off, and 2Piece, no hesitation. That was on target as well. Would have been a great shot. Paarth is in, keeping it rough. You know, just kind of... It's nice to see that they're switching it up. Paarth, instead of, you know, trying to cycle out, is just trying to stay on, keep things difficult. And 5-Up going to clear it right over to 2-Piece, again, who has had 5-Up's number this whole time. What a pass. Let's look at that again, and we're probably going to see this from Justin's POV as well. Complete turnover by 5-Up, who cannot get back to it, and just right around the defense there by 2-Piece. How are they setting up for this? I think our first man's going to be Justin right here. 2-Piece up, and it just must have been called, because 2-Piece knew exactly where he was going with it, which is kind of the difficulty with 5-Up just giving them a set play in moist defensive half, as we end up in a critical game 5. 2-Piece, 2 goals, 2 saves, and an assist, all over things on both ends of the pitch. And Shopify went on to Brazil moist in game 6 to take them to the grand finals. So after that 7-1 stomping, let's go over and see how they are able to fare against G2 Esports. Why don't we just stay on Aquadome for the whole video, huh? Game 5, of course, against G2, and this is the closeout game. We saw Shopify Rebellion lose the first one, and then we saw them, I think, get Braziled in the second game. Answered with Paarth, I think, had a hat trick. They won 4-3 in kind of a shootout, which is pretty rare from G2. They like to keep things pretty low scoring. Let's see how they're able to get things going here. Already looking pretty nervy, as we saw 2-Piece and Paarth double commit there on the goal line save. Ends up not biting him in the butt, but we do see 2-Piece without a lot of boost. Very comfortable with taking those ceiling challenges, which you like to see. Not a lot of players defend at that level, and it really pays dividends if you're able to do that comfortably, because it allows you a ton of flexibility to get up. You can save your flip, you can stall a little momentum instead of just floating in the air. And oh my gosh, 2-Piece, this is rare. G2 have, it looks like 2 on the backboard, and they don't send anybody. If you are a fan of the channel and watch a lot of the videos, you saw when we watched them against LJ. Let me see this one more time. Saw the cancel there up top, and then just puts one away. Very impressive flip reset there from 2-Piece, as the ball was kind of going, and then he took one solo, which we haven't seen yet from him. Taken a lot solo, but able to steal that boost, get back to this one. He knows beast mode is up in the air, is able to get that read, which is very impressive. And so far, Shopify are looking really solid against G2. Let's see what ends up changing over the course of this game. Able to get out to that one. Not the best touch in the world. He's very lucky that Atomic didn't rotate in, or else that ball would have been right on his hood. And I keep comparing in my mind 2-Piece and LJ, partially because we just did that video, but also because they're both the lead men for teams that are contending for majors. And we saw LJ struggle mightily in the video yesterday against G2 Esports, mostly because he likes to offensively, when he takes solo plays, we saw beast mode shut several of them down just immediately, which is less probably about LJ's offense and more about beast mode's defense. But yeah, let's see, 3 minutes left, what 2-Piece is able to do, what he's going for here. Difficult read there. Is that going to end up costing him a goal? If it's not, it definitely puts them in a weird position here. Atomic is going to keep. 2-Piece keeps his full boost and is able to rotate out. Beast mode is up so fast that he immediately backflips out of that one. Can he get the read here? Keeps it alive for Justin, but not the most beautiful ball in the world to follow up on. And Shopify have a lot of sustained offense so far over the course of this game. Let's see what ends up occurring as 2-Piece tries to bump that one out, and a little bit of a miscommunication there is ultimately maybe going to lead to a goal. Daniel fakes 2-Piece out of his socks, and unable to get out to that pinch. Gets the delayed defense there, and G2 have really cranked up the notches here, and they just kept Shopify in their own defensive half for quite a moment, but Shopify were able to break out of it. Battle in the midfield here. Starting to get pretty loose. This ball is flying high, using up a lot of boost on the Shopify side, and 2-Piece is going to flip just past that one, gets back to it. Let's see how Paarth can do with a tough ball. Does pretty well. Two-piece again is not panicked, getting back on defense. Going to conserve half a tank of boost. Oh, and this is not a good look right here. Wow. Very fortunate to get that tip out, and really flopping around here for Shopify, but again, they sustain. This one feels like it's probably going to go overtime. I've been really impressed. I just kind of assumed that G2 was going to walk over Shopify in this game, but it's felt pretty good so far, although that's a bad turnover by two-piece and probably is okay with the demo. He respawns with 30 boost where he would have anyways. And is that one going to slide across? What a save. Probably going to end up being a goal. Let's look at that one more time. So two-piece gets demoed, respawns back in. Awkward underneath the play. Not a good clear there by who must have been Paarth. And two-piece tried to track that one back down. But that pressure that we've seen G2 sustain throughout this game when they've been on the offensive end ends up finally producing a goal for them there. Hopefully this one does not go overtime, as two-piece just gets faked out there. It looked like he was thinking that Atomic was gonna get the reset or get the double touch off the ground play there, but was unable to. Completely out of the play, and thank goodness. I thought they were gonna, wow, a rifle the other way for two-piece. Great shot on target. Atomic was there for it. Not a good pass by Justin, as Paarth gets the read. And it really just comes down to those plays, you know? These are close games, and it's tough to risk those, you know, are high risk, but are they high reward? At the buzzer is how they get eliminated. Let's track back a little bit here. Paarth tries to roll it out. Two-piece, do you really need to take this one in the corner? Ends up being unable to make a play on that one. Beast mode goes central, and that's one of those plays that I remembered as well from Justin there. You really got to get something better there if you're two-piece. Justin up so early, and a slot by Atomic. A beautiful play by G2, but really given the circumstances, you probably don't want to overcommit in that same way if you're two-piece. Ends up with 4 saves and the only goal that Rebellion were able to muster. How do you guys feel after we watched those games there from two-piece? I walk away feeling better than him than I did before, especially when we talk about what he's been able to put up statistically over the course of this season. And just to recap this second major in which they ended up making the qualifier, the tiebreaker rather, before they were unable to make it against OG Esports. 3-1 against Swiss in Open Qualifier 4, swept out by Gen.G in the quarterfinals. 3-2 in the Swiss and Open Qualifier 5, swept out in the quarterfinals by G2, and swept out in the quarterfinals. And then 3-0 in Swiss in Open Qualifier 6, made it all the way to this grand finals here. We just saw the buzzer beater dagger for them against G2. I honestly still feel really good about two-piece going into next season. I think there's a strong argument for him being considered over a player like LJ. I think two-piece is really additive on both sides of the pitch, and statistically he has been an incredibly consistent and steadying player. If he doesn't have it going from a scoring standpoint, he is an assist machine. We saw that beautiful dime to Justin in that Moist series to end up getting the victory in overtime there, which is something that LJ doesn't really incorporate into his game as much. We talked about that. I would strongly recommend going back and checking out that video if you have not already, and just a save machine as well, in a really productive and additive way, where very steady on the defensive end, especially in the goal line, conserves his boost. And while he doesn't transition out with the ball in his hands as often as LJ does, it does seem as though he is pretty steady defensively. So that's two-piece, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Who do you want to watch next? This came from a recommendation in the comments from last video. So let me know below who you want to watch next, and we will dive in. But guys, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. And until next time, take it easy.